Alright, what's up gamers? I'm Gunner from the Spartan Force with another video rant about Halo. And this time I'm going to be talking about competitive Halo. And full disclosure, I am not a Halo pro. I'm not a gaming pro. I've never even been to a gaming tournament that is outside of a local Madden tournament. You know, it's just you and a couple of buddies and put some money down, and I usually walk away the winner. But hey, that was Madden. Now we're talking about Halo. But just like the rest of you, anybody that has a internet connection, an Xbox, and a copy of Halo, I've logged some serious amount of hours playing Halo against other people online and trying to win, playing as a team, communicating. It's felt very competitive. So this is not about whether or not you can play Halo competitively or if it can be a competitive game. This is about, in response to an article that was on Wired.com a couple of days ago, written by Ryan Ringley. You can follow him on Twitter at RKRingley. It's RKRINGLEY. Okay. Basically, the title of his Wired.com article, which is great, is called Why Pros Aren't Playing Call of Duty. Halo 4 was just released. Great fanfare. Sold a lot of copies. But just like clockwork, Activision Blizzard releases another Call of Duty title, Black Ops 2 by Treyarch, and this one sells just an obscene amount of copies, breaks records, and that is somewhere upwards of $500 million in the first 24 hours, crushing what Halo 4 could do. Regardless if you like Halo or if you like Call of Duty, this isn't about that. It's about competitive gaming and Halo based on a Call of Duty article, right? Follow me? Okay. So in this great article, they talk about three basic things. And one is that Call of Duty is played on multiple consoles. So point one for Halo there. You can only play Halo on an Xbox. For Call of Duty, it means it doesn't matter if you like Modern Warfare 2, 3, Black Ops 2. If you have the best team and you're playing on PlayStation, what does that mean for the Xbox players? You can't go up against them head-to-head, and obviously the game mechanics are a little bit different for the different console and processing power and yada, yada, yada. All right, so when we have separate consoles for Call of Duty, which is why maybe some pro gamers are steering clear of it, or they don't give it as much serious respect that other games might garnish or demand, or however you say. But secondly, it's the game mechanics, which it's kind of wrapped up in that same whole idea that it can be cross-console. The game comes out every single year for Call of Duty. They have two different developers or developing houses, software houses that are making these games, so they can produce one every single year. You've got Infinity Ward and then Treyarch, and they're constantly putting out another game, which is great for Activision Blizzard. They get to sell a lot of copies, make a lot of money, but the game changes every year. Every year the game changes. Weapons become either stronger or weaker. Kill times faster, shorter. And you can't practice a game, build a team, and then go and compete, during a season like Major League Gaming has. They have different seasons, a couple of events spread out throughout the country each year. You can't do that if the game's changing that fast. Okay, so Halo kind of had a run like that. Halo 3 sat out there for a long time, at least long enough that it could be played, years back to back in competitions. Teams could go out, perform one year, come back, either kick people off the team, replace people, or basically revamp their play style, kind of like an NFL team that finishes last and drafts first. They have a whole offseason and say, do we need to fire the coach? Do we need to go with a new offensive game plan? How can we fix this? How do we right this ship? You could do that for Halo 3 a little bit. Then we had Halo Reach for 2 years. Despite all the problems with Halo Reach, one of the other factors was it was only around for 2 years. The initial reaction was poor. People didn't like it. It was so different from Halo 3. Well, imagine that. That's exactly what this article talks about with pro gamers' attitude towards Call of Duty. The game changes so much each year, the gamers don't want to adopt it for competitive play. Now, again, I didn't write the article, so if you have any beef, take it up with Ryan. But I agree with it. I still agree with what he says in his article, that it makes a lot of sense. If the game's changing that fast, and you're used to the old game, you're not going to like the new one. You'll reject it. Does that mean it's bad? I don't know. Does it mean any of the Call of Duties are bad? I don't know. I'm not here to say that. But the game does change. Then look at the flip side of that. You have games like StarCraft and StarCraft 2. StarCraft 1 was out there for 10 years, as cited by the article. 10 years unchanged. Counter-Strike is still a huge game, virtually gone unchanged, and is still played tournament events. And they use Counter-Strike 1.6. Virtually unchanged game. For years and years and years, this one's been out there. Okay, so the last thing he talks about is why pro gamers are rejecting Call of Duty is the audience. And this one I'm kind of iffy, but it's almost the impetus for the entire article itself. And that is gamers, or the viewing audience, when they go to an esports event, have a hard time kind of understanding what's going on. You've got maybe 8 to 10 people in the match, from the two teams. And you've got all these different points of view, first-person points of view. How on one screen do you reach out there and show one over the other? It takes some pretty sophisticated broadcasting skills to try and show the audience, put the audience inside the action to see everything that's happening. Games like StarCraft, you don't have that problem. Or a fighting game, Mortal Kombat or a Capcom versus, I don't know, Avengers or whatever the hell those titles are called. You don't have that problem because everything's right there on the screen all at once. Again, it's kind of the weakest arguments, but it's the impetus because Treyarch did a fascinating thing with Black Ops 2, and that they put that game out with incredible amount of dedication toward shoutcasting and broadcasting to YouTube. Being able to, anybody can simply, record clips and make gameplay videos or broadcast their tournaments online to their friends, and then have other people, they're trying to bring that esports feel to the game. But I think, this is Gunner speaking, I think personally it's just, they're just trying to placate the audience. They know the audience is into that. They know the gamers are into that. They know the consumers are into that. And they're trying to, give them, here's some cookies, here's some goodies to keep you coming back for the same old crap we're going to push out again next year. It can feel more tournament friendly, but it's really not. And I would pose that question to the guys like at the Halo Council, who for almost 3 or 4 months over the summer were pounding their fists about spectator mode. I don't think spectator mode is necessarily the end and be all to making a game competitive. We'll see with Black Ops 2. I mean, if their spectator mode and friendly shoutcasting features make it a success on a tournament scale, then that's it. That's the secret. Halo 5 has got to have spectator mode. If not, I say do without it. I'll tell you what is important though. And it kind of goes with that putting the game out every single year or sticking with the game. And I this is what I wondered. With the game changing so much, if you had a really good team, and forgive me, I don't know the people who won the MLG tournaments with Halo Reach, but I'm sure those kids knew how to play. I'm sure they were really good at Halo. But if you have a Halo Reach team that won some MLG events, how do they stack up against Halo 2 teams, or Halo 3 teams, or Halo 1 teams? Halo 4 teams. It's still Halo. It's all under the same umbrella, but how do they stack up? Can you even compare them? I think the knee-jerk reaction is no, you can't compare them. And that, I think, highlights the problem. That is the problem with competitive Halo. There's no consistency. It obviously exists with Call of Duty, but I think it exists with Halo. And I started to think about it, and I wondered, why didn't the Halo community stick with Halo 3? Why did you adopt Reach in the first place? You should have all got up and stood up and demanded, no, Halo Reach will not be on this year's season, I don't know, tournament schedule. We're playing Halo 3. We've been playing it for years. We're going to keep playing Halo 3. It's the standard now. Or, why didn't you just stick with Halo 1? Why not? Why can't we do it now? Why can't we just go back and say, you know what? We're always going to have a Halo tournament, or Halo will be featured. There'll be a Halo 3. There'll be a Halo 2. There'll be, all of them. And just keep them going. But I don't think that's going to happen. That's just me talking craziness. But I will say this. This is my community plea to 343. Halo can still be the competitive game to make everybody happy, casuals and pros alike. We can bring everybody under one umbrella with the same concept. Halo 5 has got to have the same game mechanics as Halo 4. The game has got to become standardized. You be clever in how you introduce new features. Give us new Spartan Ops and different features like that. I don't know. Better campaigns and storytelling. Maybe some new maps. But keep the game mechanics the same. The physics and the weapons have got to remain the same. If you do that, Halo can maybe rise to the top and be the premier esports game that all of us Halo fans want it to be. The other one is about the spectator mode. I don't really care. I mean, it's fun and it's cool, I guess, but I don't think that's the end and be all. I think that with Halo 5 coming out, it'll probably have some sort of spectator mode, especially since Black Ops 2's got all these great YouTube features and shoutcasting. I definitely see Halo 5 having it. With that being said, mark this down. We'll see in a couple of years from now when Halo 5 is out there. Will it be the big tournament draw because it has spectator mode? Will Halo 4 rise to the top and be the big tournament draw this year? Will all of a sudden pro gamers come out of the woodwork and adopt Halo 4? I don't know. Will Black Ops 2 make it on there and make myself and the guy at Wired look like idiots for our opinions? I don't know. But it'll be fun to think about. Lastly, and to leave you with this, I wanted to say that I actually do think that we should probably go back to Halo 3. Even with all its problems, a LAN Halo 3 game is probably still going to be much better and a much better test of team skill versus team skill or individual skill. Or go back to Halo 1. Halo 1, Halo 3, either one. I just heard there's a bunch of glitches with Halo 2. Forgive me, I've never played Halo 2. But hey, I've got a lot of flaws. That's just one of them. So I'll leave that to you guys. Maybe write in the comments. Sign up at Spartan Force, our website. Join us on the forums for a discussion about it. Let me know if you think Halo Combat Evolved, the original, should be brought back to MLG, or Halo 3, or both, or should we just continue this line of every time there's a new game, we scratch the old one and start with the new one, and just keep recycling? Because I would really like to see some of the old players and the old teams continue their reign at the top against young players, because I think that's what's flawed now. Is you have young guys coming up, playing Halo and playing games competitively, but they're not going up against the older guys who are still great playing the game. They can still play, but you're not playing them on their turf. Ogre on his Twitch, playing Halo 4 is not the same as him back in the day, playing, the older Halos, right? It's just not this. It's just not the same thing. I would like to see them head to head because they're still living in the same time. It's not like we're talking about who's the better, running back. Is it Chris Johnson or Jim Brown, or whoever, or Emmitt Smith or Jim Brown? They played in different eras. They couldn't play at the same time. But now we have people who can actually play this game at the exact same time. But the only thing keeping them apart is the publisher putting out new games and the tournaments adopting the newer game and trashing the old one. So that's what I got for you today. That's my rant. This is Gunner, and I'm out.